George Spitz, welcome. I don't even have a name for this shit. Today, we're gonna be mixing. I'm gonna show you how I mix a track. It's a really simplistic production that I did. It doesn't have too much going on. Shout out to AYNT for allowing me to use this session to share with you guys and show you how I do my thing. Should be dope. I'll be getting into what plugins I use, the methods I use for different things. Yeah, pretty much how I just get a basic mix done. This one shouldn't take too long. It's not too many layers going on, but yeah, got my cafecito. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. It helps me out. That subscribe. Hit that subscribe, you know? Cheers. But yeah, let's just get into it here. So kudos, cause I got nothing but love to give. I'ma run and live somewhere they're letting me be me. I'm having fun in this bitch, I suggest that you hear these. Apply the equation, replace me with you and repeat. So hey, there'll be no playing from here. Screw you, I won't do what you want to. Do as we say around here. Alright, for this one I'm gonna try to use the video's audio. I apologize if it's not right yet. I'm trying to figure this shit out. My computer's a fucking dinosaur. Shout out to Apple with their fucking upgrades and
not having the right operating system and shit. I mean.
Alright, venting done. So yeah, huge shout out to AYNT for letting me show y'all what I do with the mix on his track. Make sure to check out the OMG EP, which is gonna come out soon. It has this track in it, and I'm fucking thrilled about it. Yeah, I usually do a little smoking, whatever, to each their own. But yeah, trying to keep the lungs clean during this craziness, you know, trying to be as good as possible. But that being said, I still got my edibles, so shout out to the Eds. Oh, God bless them. Opa. All right, well, let's get to it. I usually start with my drums. As you see, I've already put my my elements all at negative infinity or down all the way. I'm keeping my auxes kind of where they were. I'm gonna show you the rough mix of the track so you can get a vibe. This track specifically, I think, is a great one to start with, and it's not too much going on. There's not a lot of layers going on, so there's not too much that needs to be mixed.
But obviously, it still needs to be mixed.
Shout out to the fucking asshole with the weed whacker outside. God, seriously? Whatever, gotta work with what you have, so. Here's the fucking rough mix with AYNT's vocals pretty much the way he sent them to me, so you can hear how it goes.
Hey. Not give it a bug with him. Hey. Yeah. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking moolah in they mama's purse. She don't approve of what we up to, but it's temporary.
For the most part, that's how the track basically goes. There's not much more going on, not a lot of like layering happening besides what you just heard. So it's a pretty simplistic form of production on this one, and I think that's a good one to start off with here and kind of just show you the basics of what I'm doing. I usually start with my drums. The drum, especially in this style of music, is the fucking driving force, and it's gotta fucking just sound perfect. Then I start molding everything around it, making sure nothing's fighting with it. One thing I want to point out, you might have seen me already with the limiter out here. I use this just to kind of normalize the overall level of things. It's just a way, I try not to get things to attenuate too much when I use the limiter on the mix. It's just literally so I can slam things a little bit more. And I keep an eye on my headroom. That way, if, instead of just bringing things up in the meter or in level and using more of my meter's headroom, I like to use this to kind of like keep that headroom, and then I could just lift that threshold later and then start mixing the overall stereo mix. And see what I'm saying? I'm trying not to let it go up too high and have attenuation going down on the limiter. But yeah, always keeping an eye on my stereo meter. I had done a little bit of growl to the 808, kind of brought up all these specific frequencies so you can hear that more on like the laptop speakers or on like your iPhone or something if you don't have that low end going. But I'm gonna keep it bypass for now. When I had sent this back to AYNT with this sounding like this, he wasn't really digging how much low might have gotten out of it. I kind of hear it back now and realize the same thing, so I'm sure I'll be bringing it back in a little bit in that range. Already attenuating a little bit on the limiter. I'm kind of eating up a lot of that headroom, so I'm gonna bring things down just by like 2 or 3 dB. Let's do 2 dB down, around there. See, I already had a little bit of low end beefing going on the snare. It was sounding a lot, it was like it was sounding pretty thin without this, so I had already added some body when I was making the beat. I think that snare could beef a little bit overall, kind of just get a little more smack. I use this this sucks, dude. God damn. I use the Renaissance axe to get some smack. Shout out to Ian. Bro, this is fucking horrible. That bite, so I'm keeping that in there. And one thing to keep in mind here, you just got to keep an eye on your gain staging. You don't want anything distorting into the next plugin, like leaving one thing distorting and then going into the next thing already too hot for you to fuck with, and then just keeps distorting more and more. A little distortion never hurt nobody, of course, so if it's sounding right, it's sounding right. That's just what it is. Once I start hearing everything come in, you can really fucking start gauging. I also look at my meter. This is just my best friend. Any representation of the stereo meter at this point, which is, I use this. And I know that the kick and snare, they're kind of always in the same range, because I get those two to kind of fucking be the highest thing in the mix, so. And for the most part, these things are EQ'd the way I want them already. The beat's pretty much riding the way I want, but you know, to make this beat come together, I EQ'd things certain ways so that everything has its room. This is a super simple beat that you don't need to really go too crazy EQing everything on this one specifically, because everything is just what it is. There's a lot of room in between each element as far as like frequency-wise and sonically. Bring that knockout on the kick, that top kind of like end, the top of the low, to smack over the 808. For the most part, the 808's where I want it, but I want to bring a little bit more of the mid range or the low mid to kind of let it growl, like I said, through those thinner speakers. Sub back in to kind of let it do its fucking 808 thing. For the most part, I've been slamming it just to get the feel of the beat. Now I'm going to be hearing it a little lower. At a lower level, I can hear if anything's popping out too much. The relationship between the different elements, I can really start hearing when I have it lower. Those chants sound. There's also this little clanky thing in this chants. On the break. Those clankies are kind of a little tinny or a little piercy, so I'm going to chill that out on the top end. Not too much, just a little bit. Yeah, you can see the break already has this Fairchild, the Waves guys did, the Pwig Child. It's basically a Fairchild compressor, has a sick tone to it. Super light on it right now. Not going too hard on the meters, keeping some headroom, but that -3 on the threshold there is just letting it juice so I can fucking hear it when I slam it. Just the way I do it. This isn't necessarily like anything I learned from anybody. This is just what I do. I'm just gonna start bringing the vocals in. Usually I have an aux channel set up for vocals, and I think I'm gonna do that now. Yeah, even though it already has a little bit of a mix going on, I want to route all the vocals to one aux, or at least its respective aux. Maybe the hook has a different aux, stereo aux, just so I can effect all of that at the same time instead of having to put plugins on each channel and use up, you know, RAM or computer power. You route everything to the same stereo bus, and if it works, if it's hitting the same units the right way you want it to, you don't have to really worry about each thing getting its own plugin. Yells to pop out a little more. Now there are other elements in that sound, so I gotta be careful with how much I'm doing that, you know. Just to clear that up and let it pop through a little more. So yeah, it sounded fucking rad. Now I'm gonna bring the vocals in. I'm gonna make an aux track just to start. The vocal already has processing on it. He already did some compression, some EQing on it. You could hear it. It's been pretty much mixed to a certain degree. I still want to mix it a little bit. So what I'm gonna be doing on these vocals is very minimal compared to what I usually do. I usually do a little bit more harder compression and more specific and more carving out of an EQ to make sure that the sound fits into the mix as opposed to the raw sound. But it's kind of already there because he morphed these vocals into the beat already. So I don't have to do too much mixing on the vocal, but I'm gonna do a little bit just to clean things up. There's all the vocals here. Ad-libs, his verses. Here's the hooks. Here's some intro parts. Just gonna start by creating a stereo aux. And that'll be AYNT for now. Maybe all the verse and the hook goes to the same thing. Usually the hook and the verse have a little bit of a different mix. Depends on the song. Sometimes it doesn't at all. I'm just looking for an open aux. 3 and 4 seems to be fine. So yeah, these hooks. All this is going to be the hooks and the verses for now. Everything is going to be routed to 3 and 4. That's where the aux that I made is at. That's the input on that. Since I'm using the aux as my main as now the control over the vocals, I'll just bring the vocal up to 0 on that channel. Since it's routing to the aux, I can control the level of it here. So you'll see everything
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do
going to AYNT here.
Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty.
I think the vocal can sit a little bit harder in here. I want to keep the dynamic still to it, but yeah, this is hip-hop. I want that shit in your face when you listen to that shit. So I'm going to compress it a little bit more, really lightly, using a clean compressor here, nothing too much with tone. I love the ARC compressor. Yeah.
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is.
You can obviously see I use some plugins. You could even see in the last video that I did, some of these plugins aren't made for, this one specifically is, but for instance, the Renaissance Axe, I use that on the snare. That's not usually like used for snares. It's so you can put your guitars through it, but I just love the crunch that it gets out of that. I love how smacky a snare gets through that. So that's kind of unorthodox. Once again, shout out to Ian Marcel, who showed me that one back in the day. I just love the smack that I get out of that. There's other ways of doing it. There's other compressors, other ways of getting smacked. I just love that one specifically, and the way it works for this track.
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches.
But yeah, let's compress the vocal a little.
About who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in.
A little more.
I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to.
See how the signal sits a little bit better now.
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches.
Not much of a difference, but now I'm gonna put a limiter after that, and that's really gonna make it sit.
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty.
And there's some reverb in the vocal he sent me. Usually I would ask for it raw, but I know the mixing I'm gonna do here isn't gonna bring that reverb. Like, my main concern would be if it wasn't a solid mix and I had to compress the fuck out of it more than I am right now, that reverb would also come up more. And if it's not at a good level, then I'm gonna have to deal with a bunch of reverb that who knows if I want it or not. But what he sent me and the reverb that's on it, it sounds clean, so I dig it.
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry.
I'm gonna bring a little more body into the vocal.
The cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery.
Using that 250, 200, 300 range, and I'm keeping the cue not too small at all, keeping it wide so that it kind of gets that whole area around it. Bring a little bit more warmth into the vocal there.
Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in.
And then I'm just kind of bringing that top in a little bit too, just to make sure it doesn't go away too much. All the while checking my meter, making sure nothing's distorting. We're hella low there.
Fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery.
Let's bring the intros in there. Make sure those are at cool levels.
Hey. Now give it a bug with 'em. Hey. Yeah. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty.
And bring the other hook layer in. Now, wait, let me solo safe this so we can hear everything soloed. Since it's going through this aux, if I solo the track that's feeding into it, unless it's solo saved, which I did by just Apple clicking, if I don't do that, you're not going to hear the track when it's soloed, because it's going through the aux, and that aux needs to also solo.
You bitches dirty.
So the second layer I'm going to drop a little bit too, so it can support that main hook lead vocal here, hook 1. The hook 2 should kind of just back it up a little, not really sound like it's
So fucking crazy layer to just support that more. I don't even know if I'm making sense.
You bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my.
And then there's the third layer here, which, let's see how that sounds.
Fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry.
And I'm gonna pan them a little bit just to kind of give more of a, you know, stereo range here when the listener's hearing things, and so everything's not just down the middle.
You bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, who I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma.
This one's tough. That supporting hook, the second one, it doesn't really have another one. If there was a third one, I'd pan the 2 supporting ones behind the lead, or the doubles. But yeah, in this case, I might just keep everything just down the middle.
You bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about.
And I'm gonna keep that higher pitched backup. I'm gonna keep that on one side just to give a little more dimension, a little more, just to keep it stereo. You know, you don't want everything always down the middle. Kind of make things a little interesting.
You bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery.
There we go.
You bitches.
And now let's just start getting a little mix on the verse too. Make sure that the verse is sounding right in this chain. This is where I find out if I need another aux for the verse or not. I don't know if I will. I don't think so, but let's see.
Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking.
Let's hear how it transitions from the hook to the verse.
I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking moolah in they mama's purses. She don't approve of what we up to, but it's temporary. He on that foreseeable future shit and got me working. You claiming you gon' be a superstar, I can't tell. You the type to shoot us down, cause you cut an L.
See how it's smacking on the top now on the kick? I'm just gonna control that. I wanna hear more of that top end.
I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches.
On the kick.
I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking moolah in they mama's purse.
And I like the Q10 because I just like to bring things up or down wherever I need it. Some engineers use subtractive EQing. I like to add things, and then if, you know, at the end, once I pop the things that I need out, I mean, I'll do some subtractive on certain things, obviously. Depends on what it is. But once I get the sound I want, if you're adding more volume to certain frequencies, then you're going to start having less headroom, and you can essentially distort at the end. So that's why I keep an eye on my meters at the end of the day, and if it's going to start making the signal peak, I just bring this down here. It's the same math at the end of the day as the subtractive EQing. But, you know, everybody has their own way. I'm sure a lot of engineers would cringe just hearing me say that. I use my ears at the end of the day, though, you know?
I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, ho, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling.
And these are the dubs on the verses, so I'm going to start bringing those in as well. Let's see how that sounds here.
My brother, for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking moolah in they mama's purses. She don't approve of what we up to, but it's temporary.
So this one I have 2 sets of doubles, so I can pan those out, you know? Give even more of a stereo effect, kind of a spread. Or a Moses, as Little Dicky would say. Shout out to fucking Taco and Dave.
For my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking moolah in they mama's purses. She don't approve of what we up to, but it's temporary. He on that foreseeable future shit and got me working. You claiming you gon' be a superstar, I can't tell. You the type to shoot us down, cause you caught an L. For that bitch that live inside you, people just ignoring. Don't be mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk a what about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just got a couple things in my.
And then here's the ditties, or the puffies, or the ad-libs. Oh wait, these are echo. What is this? Oh, he said echo this.
Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers.
See, he sent me this one. It says echo these more. I'll put a little delay on that.
Go! Do it.
Oh, he already had some delay on it. I just realized.
Go! Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling.
I'm not gonna mess with those delays too much. We have a lot of things going on.
Go!
Yeah, there's some delay on that. I'll just leave it at that for now. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah! Let's get it! Be a superstar, I can't tell. Ain't stopping to the summer. She don't approve of what we up to, but it's temporary. He on that foreseeable future shit and got me working. You claiming you gon' be a superstar.
Let's see if they stand out or not.
You people just ignoring. Don't be mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk a what the game.
Now we're bringing the puffies.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game.
And I'm spreading those a little bit too, just to play with the stereo field.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just gotta.
And
when I'm mixing this
track specifically, I know that the overall vibe of the track, or the track, I know that the vibe on the whole track.
Pretty sure the edible just hit. Or the edibles. Oh boy, oh boy, boy, boy.
But yeah. Yeah, because I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just got a couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift.
Might be a little too much body on the vocal. We'll keep it rolling though. That's funny. So usually, I didn't notice I did this, but the EQ that I was trying to do, I wanted it to affect the entire mix. I meant to put this on the aux, and that's the whole point of the aux, but look at me being a fucking idiot. So this will affect all the vocals that are going to that. And I'm gonna bring that body down again a little bit.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game.
So that low is a little bit higher, and I'm just gonna bring this up on the higher end of the low. Yeah, I mean everything's frequencies. We're talking like a difference of 60 to 100 hertz here, the range. So I just want to make sure that that low isn't too prominent, and that the body of the vocal kind of comes up a little bit and still maintains.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just got a couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift. Don't wanna hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public. I ain't with that who you messing with and who you know, sir. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love.
Oh, there's that crazy delay.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just got.
You hear it in the headphones. You want different references. You always want to hear on different things. I usually have 2 speakers set up right now, but Cal, shout out to the What's Good. He has his monitors in his room right now. We usually have both of our monitors. Right now I'm using the Yamaha's HMs, which are pretty, I don't know, pretty good references. I love mixing with these speakers. The HM5s, I think they are. But yeah, I'm gonna hear them in these Dre's, which another thing most engineers would fucking cringe at me doing, but I know these things. Shout out to fucking Dr. Dre for getting me addicted. That's a whole story that you probably wouldn't even hear if I started it here, but my first pair of Dre's were given to me by my fucking ex-girlfriend, and the second pair of Dre's I ever got, which aren't these, were given to me by him, by Dr. Dre, which I know it sounds fucking like bullshit, but I'm gonna tell that story one day. Shout out to Dre, guy's the fucking man. I use these headphones because I'm used to hearing a lot of shit on them. I know how they sound, and I know how the low end reacts in these, so I want to check the low end right now, and I want to see how that sounds. And if it's too much, I can really hear that too much in here, you know? So if it sounds like it's way too much in here, that's when I know it's getting too crazy. So I want to make sure that that low end relationship with everything is okay.
You people just ignore it. Don't mean mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just got a couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift. Don't wanna hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public. I ain't with that who you messing with and who you.
Yeah, I'm realizing that the low end's pretty fucking muddy, and this is just how I go through my mix. It doesn't always sound good like as I'm going, or until maybe even another second or third revision of the whole mix. So you're just riding along with me right now. That low end's a little too crazy right now. I gotta make sure it's tamed. You want it to slam, but this is where I used to fuck up. At the end of the day, I wouldn't help this at the end of the day. I would just leave it all beefed. So I'm just gonna carve that bottom down a little bit.
You people just ignore it. Don't be mixing with a chico who just out exploring. Take whatever the fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition.
Yeah, and it's in that kick mainly. So I'm gonna make a little more room for the 808 to hit, because there's a lot of muddiness also in the kick, or like there's a lot of sub range in there going on. I want the 808 to really take up that space more, so I'm gonna chill it out on the kick. Just a little bit. That's already a lot. I'm just kind of... But yeah. You don't want to fucking totally lose what you have. Let's do that again. I mean, it's tough. I don't want to fuck that low end up. I want to make sure it stays, but it just gotta have the relationship just has to be right. And I'm also using the sub, the Yamaha sub, which really helps in the room. It's all what you have, you know. I used to fucking mix on Dell speakers my first few years of mixing, and I found out how to make that work. You gotta use what you have, you know.
Do it for my chicos hustling, yeah, my brothers struggling, sneaking moolah in their mama's purses. She didn't approve of what we up to, but it's temporary. He on that foreseeable future shit and got me working. You came in, you gon' be a superstar, I can't tell. You the type to shoot us down, cause you caught an L. For that bitch.
So I'm gonna group the 808 and the kick together right now and move them respectively, or move them together.
Fuck you holding out of your hand, bitches. Talk about the game, but ain't got no ambition. I just got a couple things in my bucket list. So if I required a couple things, it's a fucking gift. No one to hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public. I ain't with that who you messing with and who you know stuff. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. No one to hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public. I ain't with that who you messing with and who you know stuff. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love.
I'ma do you bitches dirty.
Don't give a fuck about who moving.
Shit sounding good, baby. And you gotta fucking vibe. You gotta, you know, just gotta have fun with this shit. If you're not having fun, if you're not vibing with it, it's not gonna fucking come out right, dude. If you're not vibing with it, it's not gonna vibe with you or others. So the goal is for people to have fun when they listen to this shit, so I'm gonna make sure that that's the case by making sure that I'm having fun.
Messing with and who you know stuff. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Funky uncle representative of homo. If you, my initials are like no bro. I know, bro. Fuck your politicking, y'all just can't campaign here. You ain't felt my pain and you don't know how it goes. I ain't to you for me, baby, that's a can do. I put the talker Chico readily by example. No, I don't wanna come in pieces, coming in shambles. I want a handful and what's in your hand too. Don't contest me like this the last semester. What you doing? You ain't doing.
I wanna make sure that my automation levels on those delays are okay.
Just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'm
That one's a little low.
just showing up.
I mean, a little high. That one's a little hot.
Just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches
little bit. And I have it automated in a way that it cuts off right when the hook comes back so that it doesn't fight the rest of it. As you can see.
Showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, I just want it in that little gap, and then it chills out again.
Just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry.
There's still something too much about the kick. I'm trying to figure it out. I want to keep the sub. AYNT, I know you hear me. I know you want that low end. I'm going to try to keep it as much as possible without, you know, I'm going to clean it. But that's where I get, you know, I got to really keep an eye on, or keep an ear on that low end. Make sure it's not disappearing too much when I clean it up.
Just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry.
And like I said, I'm using multiple notches. I love the Q10 because it has 10 fucking notches. I love the Fab Filter one where you could just pull as many as you want. But yeah, I don't like to affect the same notch that I did before. I could fuck with the same notches that I already have in that range there, right here. Like the 4 and whatever other number I have there, the 1. But I'd rather just make that one move that I know I need. And if I have 10 notches to make that shit happen, so be it. If I need even more, this is what I'll do. Sometimes I'll even bring out another Q10 and just keep going with that one. Keep fucking doing my moves, keep doing my moves. Bro, I've gone to 3 or 4 on some shit. So don't be scared to bring those out. As long as it still sounds good, make sure you're using your ear to assure that. But that's what counts right there. Yeah, there's something too much about that kick. Let me get that group out.
Just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay.
Maybe it's just too loud.
Just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift. No one hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face. You ain't with that, who you messing with and who you know stuff. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Show love, show love.
The fact that there's so much attenuation going on the limiter is it concerns me a little bit, because, you know, you lose dynamic that way. I'm gonna try to lift it a little bit.
Couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift. No one hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public.
I might put another fucking compressor just for some tone on the vocal overall. So I'm gonna use like what is this? The Kramer. And you could already hear that tape sound it added. So it's got a tone to it. It's definitely gonna add a little bit of a quality to the sound, but it's also gonna help me control the signal. So what I'm trying to do is control the signal a little more, and not by using one compressor. I could make the ratio higher or lower the threshold, and the same with the limiter. I could lower the threshold, but the more I do that with one machine, the more you're putting that one machine to work. If you spread out your compression on multiple plugins or multiple compressors, as opposed to, you know, for example, if you're compressing on one compressor, you could do the same job that one compressor is doing at a 10-to-1 ratio with a certain threshold. You could do that same job with 3 compressors with a 3-to-1 ratio or 3.5-to-1 ratio, whatever, something like that. And it's going to sound a little bit more tame. It's not going to lose as much of its vibe as it would with one compressor. I know I went over this in another video, just kind of retouching on it.
Couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift. No one hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public. You ain't with that.
And yeah, it's just low ratio, 3-to-1, nothing too crazy.
I'm gonna do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay, oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay.
Yeah, I feel like I lost that kick.
Couple things in my bucket list. So if I acquired a couple things, it's a fucking gift. No one hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never never seen your face in public. I ain't with that.
Yeah, the 808 can come out more too.
Couple things in my bucket list. So if I required a couple things, it's a fucking gift. No one to hear about the state of your republic. Cause I ain't never seen your face in public. I ain't with that who you messing with and who you know stuff. I'm just showing up, and if you dope, I'ma show love. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay. Oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Fuck with my dogs, I'ma do you bitches dirty. Don't give a fuck about who moving, shit is blurry. No, I ain't here to parlay. Oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Funky uncle representative of FOMO. If you, my initials are like no.
The ad-lib's a little loud, the puffies.
Oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Funky uncle representative of FOMO. If you, my initials are like no bro. Fuck your politicking, y'all just can't campaign here. You ain't felt my pain and you don't know how it goes. I ain't to you for me, baby, that's a can do. Put the talker Chico better lead by example. No, I don't wanna come in pieces, coming in shambles.
Trying to make sure that lead vocal sticks out as much as possible. You don't want to drown out the lead with your backups and your doubles and your ad-libs.
Oh, I'm in a hurry. I'm my own man, I ain't stopping to the cemetery. Funky uncle representative of FOMO. If you, my initials are like no bro. Fuck your politicking, y'all just can't campaign here. You ain't felt my pain and you don't know how it goes.
There's something about the fucking cutout there.
If you, representative of FOMO.
Nah, I want that fucking kick in there right there.
Representative of FOMO.
That's weird. Ah.
Representative of FOMO. If you,
There it
my
is.
initials are like no bro. Fuck your politicking, y'all just can't campaign here. You ain't felt my pain and you don't know how it goes. I ain't to you for me, baby, that's a can do. Put the talker Chico better lead by example. No, I don't wanna come in pieces, coming in shambles. I want the hand.
Yeah, there's something that with that kick I need to get right. I want it to smack hard, but I don't want it to thump too hard or sub too hard. There you go. That helps. There we go. Yeah. And probably boot it up a little bit by itself, the kick itself. Make sure that low end doesn't, I'm gonna bring the low end down even more. Just overall low shelf here. Got like 2 dB starting somewhere in the middle here. It's a lot. Maybe a little too much on the top there. Just a little more tame. Snare sounds good. But yeah, shit. I think we've been doing this long enough, right? Y'all get the point? It can go longer. It can always go longer, and that's another thing. You gotta know when to stop. You gotta know when you're starting to fuck shit up. At this point, I'm kind of starting to lose a little bit of perspective, so I'm gonna go chill. I really like where the whole mix is at right now. But I don't want to fuck with it too much more, you know, and start fucking things up, start losing perspective on certain things or overall perspective. If you start honing in on certain things as well, you can really start losing the overall thing. So I think for now, I'm gonna let this chill. My lady has been texting me about lunch, and she probably hates me right now, but I hope she ate. I'm fucking crazy.
I definitely ate a little bit.
For now, let's just keep it where it's at. Nothing crazy going on the master. You know, like I said, this is just the mix. We're not mastering anything, but I usually do some EQing over on the overall master. And let's save that for another video. That'll be a good one. We'll do some stereo bus mixing on the next one and a little mastering. So I'll save that for that one. Yeah, and there was some automation on the snares and stuff. I didn't really go over that. That's another video I want to do. You know I'm a dub fiend, so I'll show you how to do a couple of my dubs, my delays and shit. I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, hanging out with me. AYNT, once again, thank you so much for fucking sharing this with the people with me. I can't wait for fucking people to hear the whole track. That OMG EP is coming out soon. That's AYNT's EP. It's a few tracks, and this is one of them. Honored to be on that. I produced this by myself, and then I sent it to Ant. He immediately wrote to it. He wrote it in like less than, I want to say less than an hour, but definitely at least less than 2 hours. And then the next day he went to the studio, banged it out real quick, sent it to me, and I was... Y'all, thanks again. I'm George Spitz. You guys are you. Hit the like if you fuck with it. Hit the no like if you don't fuck with it. I don't give a fuck. I'm glad that you're just fucking here. Subscribe, that helps a lot. And yeah, stay tuned. There's gonna be a lot more of these. Mama, George Spitz out.
Representative of FOMO. F you, my initials are like no bro. I know, bro. Fuck your politic and y'all just can't campaign here. You ain't felt my pain and you don't know how it goes. I ain't to you for me, baby, that's a can do.